Okay, what's going on, guys? Today we're going to talk about the most disappointing games of this year. Now, I want to preface some things. One, this is my opinion. Please just realize that this is my opinion, and these are the most disappointing games to me. And disappointing doesn't always mean bad. It's not. These aren't bad games. These are just games that just didn't really hit the mark for me. Um, as in I was probably really excited, and they're still good games, but they just didn't quite live up to what I thought they would. Also, I'm basing these games off of how excited I was for them and how much they let me down. So this is just disappointing, not bad. And also, could you just listen to my opinions before you come with the pitchforks and the mobs? Because I know some of these games will be controversial. You'll be pissed that they're on here, but yeah, here we go. We're gonna start off with number 5. So, Watch Dogs Legion. This is a game that actually could be on my bad list because this game is actually really close to being bad. It's really just terrible. The only reason I don't think it went on my bad list is because it's just average at everything. Watch Dogs does nothing special at all. It's just so average that it almost hurts. Literally, I was almost bored to tears playing this. And another reason it didn't end up on my worst games of the year is because there are moments in this game where I am like playing and I get this rush, like this fucking like shot of adrenaline, like I'm a junkie, you know what I'm saying? Where I'm like, oh, this is fun for about 10 seconds, and then I get that shot of adrenaline, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is getting fun, and then it goes back to boring random bullshit that just has no fucking point and is so boring. So yeah, that's why it didn't land on my worst list. But yeah, this game is so boring. That's the number one. I would explain it as number one word: boring. This you always do the same mission. The main missions are always the same. You do the same thing, which is go and download something off of a fucking computer, and then maybe watch a hologram or a Batman detective vision of what the fuck went on and bullshit, and then you don't. I didn't even care about the story. I didn't give a fuck about the story at all. The story is just average. It doesn't have any highlights to me personally, except for maybe a mission or two, and it's almost just painful to get through, and it's too long for some reason. I don't know why the fuck that game is so long. And yeah, there's nothing special about it. Even this game even is weird where it took aspects from Watch Dogs 2 and got rid of some of them. Now, if you don't know my history with the Watch Dogs games, I think Watch Dogs 1 was really disappointing. It's better than Legion, I'll tell you that. And then Watch Dogs 2 was a step in the right direction. And then this game is just a complete drop-off from both of those. So Watch Dogs Legion took assets from Watch Dogs 2 but got rid of them for some reason. Like, this game doesn't have as much content as Watch Dogs 2 had. Like, with the animations, the spider buggy or drone or whatever, the spider buggy's gone from Watch Dogs 2, and it's gone in this game for some reason. There's a lot of shit that's just missing, and this game has a lack of content in it. It's really stupid. And the thing that I was most excited for was this Be Anybody system, which honestly isn't even that great. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I'm not gonna sugarcoat. It's not even that great. You can be anybody, but you can literally make any character pretty much be anybody except for a few things. Like, this character might have a gun that maybe your other players can't have. Or this person has a drone that your other characters can't have. But ultimately, it plays the same. You literally don't even need anybody different to play through the whole game, except for maybe one mission or two missions where you need a specific person that has a certain ability. But literally, that's it. There's literally no point to it. And like, the characters in this game are lifeless. They're just, the voice acting is terrible for every character as well. It's they're terrible. This system isn't even that good, even though this was the whole marketing plan. This was the big thing about the game. It's really not that good. It's it's uh it's an okay system, I guess, but I found myself not even wanting to change into anybody because what's the fucking point? I don't really care that much. Because everyone can pretty much do the same thing that everyone else can. There's no difference. There's also no gun store in this game. Like, what? Are you kidding me? I don't understand why, but whatever. That's why Watch Dogs Legion is disappointing. I just went on a whole rant, and this is why this disappointing video might be longer than others, but I just went on a whole fucking rant. I do not like this game that much at all, and I think they need to step it up. If they make another Watch Dogs, I'm ready for Watch Dogs to be dead after this one. I'm not gonna lie. I'm ready. I don't care if it's dead. I don't care if it dies. I don't give a fuck. Fuck Watch Dogs Legion and Watch Dogs in general. Fuck it. I don't care. But yeah, that's what my problems were with the game. Just overall is just very boring and average and has nothing really fun in it. Maybe the multiplayer will change it, but we'll see. But we'll move on to my number 4 pick, which is Resident Evil 3. Now, I'm a big fan of Resident Evil. I've played most of the games, and Resident Evil 2, I was like, holy shit, this is epic as fuck. Resident Evil 3 is going to be even better. And then I'm like, no. First of all, this game is only about 3 hours, 4 hours of content. It's literally, that's how long the campaign is. And I'm like, what the hell? You know, like, that's very short. And this game doesn't have the replayability of 2 where you have multiple scenarios. No, it's just Jill, one scenario. It's no other campaigns. So this game doesn't have much replay value. It's way too short. I feel like they actually took out a lot of stuff from Resident Evil 3 as well. Like, you could make choices in Resident Evil 3, I believe, the original, that would actually affect the gameplay. But in this game, you just kind of don't do that. So, I mean, it's just disappointing. Story is good for what it is. Also, Nemesis can only attack you, like, Nemesis only has one big, like, area that he can attack you in. And what I mean by that is that Mr. X would always follow you around the RPD at least, like, 3 or 4 times. But with Mr. X, it's just scripted cutscenes pretty much. There's only one time that he can follow you around the city, which sucks, because I thought that was the best part of Resident Evil 2, is that you were getting chased and you're always on your feet the whole time and always tense. But with this game, it's just that one part and then scripted events for the rest of the game. So, Nemesis was kind of a letdown, to be honest. And, yeah, so... And you know what pisses me off the fucking most about this game is that they charged you $60 for this game. There's no way that this game should have been $60. 3 hours of a game? Are you serious? Are you serious? 60 hours of content? No fucking way. You're joking me. Because, look, the only reason that they made it 60... Listen, okay, so this game comes with a shittier game, which is Resident Evil Resistance, which is... I mean, it's not that shitty, but it's alright. But the reason that they charge $60 for it is because they included Resident Evil Resistance with Resident Evil 3. And I'm more than likely sure that's why they charged $60 for it. That game should not have been $60 with the content that it had. That's what makes me the most mad, honestly, about that. So, Resident Evil Resistance, that's its own game, I guess, but it's just not even that good. It's a multiplayer, like, survival, like, kind of like get all objectives and then run game. I don't know. It's not that good. But yeah, Resident Evil 3 is definitely on here because of the lack of content it just has. I don't know why. But some of you may have saw that coming, maybe not. But overall, Resident Evil 3 is still good, but just a little bit disappointing for what I was looking for. I thought Resident Evil 3 was going to step it up from Resident Evil 2, but I guess not. So we're going to move on to 3. Now, before I move on to number 3, please just listen to my opinions before you start with the pitchforks and the mob. Please just listen. Now, number 3 is Cyberpunk 2077. Okay, I know. You're like, holy shit, how could you put Cyberpunk up there? And you guys are probably saying, "Oh, well, you're just saying it's disappointing because of the bugs and glitches." Listen, the bugs and glitches make it more disappointing, yes, but I'm not basing my opinion off of just the bugs and glitches. I think the game is disappointing all around. Uh, except for the story. I think the story is pretty good and the characters are pretty good in this game. I really like that's my favorite part about the game, honestly, is the story and the characters, and that's what kept me going through the game. But the things that I find most disappointing about Cyberpunk are the city looks good, but the lack of like AI brain, like the AIs are brain dead in this game. Like literally they don't know how to react in some of the missions. Even the companion AIs don't really know how to react. The AIs are lifeless, and you can literally like I have not had a unique experience with an AI in Cyberpunk at all. Like no, and they don't even talk to you at all. If you get one word, you get one sentence dialogue from each AI that you can talk to. I put emphasis on talk, but yeah, and the city is almost lifeless because sometimes there'll just be nobody in the city, and I'm like, okay, well, and yeah, the also talking about the AI, the cops are garbage in this game. The wanted system is complete trash. Like, dude, the cops are brain dead. Like, you could literally shoot a cop and go around the corner and they wouldn't know where you are. This is crazy to me. But that's just the AI. So I think that that's disappointing. Um, the also I want to talk about besides the AI in the world. I think that the life path stuff. I feel like the life path stuff was marketed to us as three separate campaigns almost, but you get in there and it's just not that. It's literally just a different intro and different dialogue options throughout the story that's the same in all three of them. And I feel like this would be fine. The three life paths, this would be fine having the same campaign and everything if they didn't really market it as like a three different campaigns. Because if you go back and watch the life paths trailer for Cyberpunk, they're literally showing shit that's only from each intro of the life path, which is weird. It's like they're trying to market it, but they know it's not. So I didn't understand why they did that, but yeah. Also, I want to talk about speaking of life paths, well, I guess this doesn't really tie into that, but the combat in Cyberpunk is not the best, honestly. It's just serviceable, honestly. And it's not really where I would want it to be. I know some of the cyberware is cool that you can get, and yes, but I don't know why, but the gameplay just feels so wonky. Like, the gunplay just feels weird and odd to me. I don't know, like, why. And it just feels like so odd when you're like fighting, like doing like fast-paced combat with the gunplay and everything in it. Especially the hand-to-hand combat is wonky as fuck. When you're fighting with your fist, that shit is wonky as fuck. I don't know why, but it's really not that good in my opinion. But Cyberpunk is still a good game. I want to say that. It just with all that stuff that I just mentioned, it is disappointing to me. But overall, I like the story and the characters, but the world and everything and the gunplay or the gameplay is just kind of disappointing in my opinion. On top with the bugs and the glitches, the bugs and glitches don't help. My game's crashed about fucking 9 times, 10 times since I've done it. And it took me a while to beat because there would just be points where I got stuck in the menu and I couldn't get out and stuff like that. So yeah, I hope you understand and respect my opinion. If you love Cyberpunk with all your heart and you think that's the best game you've ever played, that's fine. I respect your opinion, but I just personally do not think that that is true. But okay, we'll move on to number 2. So Avengers is my number 2. Now, I think the reason that Avengers beat Cyberpunk is because I was less excited for Cyberpunk than I was Avengers. And Avengers, and still Cyberpunk is still a good game overall. But Avengers is like a very, very, very average game. And it just fucking hurts because I was looking so forward to it. I was like, you know what, Spider-Man PS4 is great. You know, hopefully we can get this amazing Avengers game. And it came out, and it's like, oh no, I don't. Never mind. I think for Avengers, the characters themselves are good. I feel like the campaign's pretty good, except for a couple missions here and there that are kind of boring. But the campaign is pretty good. But dude, fighting the robots is boring as fuck. The enemy AI is terrible. The enemy in general, enemy design is terrible. You fight robots, it's so fucking boring. The level design is terrible for this game. It is fucking trash. Not to mention that this game also has it also had a bunch of glitches and bugs at launch too, which didn't help. But yeah, to be honest, this game is just really disappointing because it's fucking boring too. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Playing with your friends is fun, but after you play the first couple missions that are fresh and you do the same missions 10 times over again, which because they have no mission variety almost for the multiplayer, and the villain sectors only have 2 villains, or I mean 4 villains, which you can literally get done with in like 2 days. After that initial 2 days, it's just average and boring. The only thing that saved this game is hopefully the DLC, and I think that some of the character abilities are pretty cool. Like, the character ability you can get for a character is really cool, but the combat is just so so repetitive in that game that it hurts to do it. After a while, it's just kind of boring. But overall, I think Avengers is an average game. And by average, I mean like a 5 out of 10. It's just average. Hopefully it'll get better with DLC, but right now it's just boring. It's just boring and just repetitive and has no mission variety. You do almost the same thing every mission, which is secure the area. It's after a while, or after like 2 days, it loses it just loses it. It's just so painfully average after that as well. Even playing with your friends, it's fun, but it gets boring after a while, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm done playing this game. But yeah, so that's the second one on my list. Number 1. Now, some of you might think that this game is amazing. It's amazing. And that's fine. I don't mind. But personally, The Last of Us 2 was the most disappointing game of this year because it is the game that I look forward to the most this year. Dude, on a technical level, this game is a 10 out of 10. Like, all the like graphics and shit, and the sound design is pretty cool. The accessibility options are amazing, but the story overall is so bad. Like, I personally don't like Abby, and I know a lot of people do, but I don't like Abby because I feel like this story is just so out of place. Like, this is the most like out of place story. I feel like if you switched a couple of the story beats around, then you would maybe have a way better game. But that's the problem, is this game isn't like, the story is so like average okay, so Abby is a bad character because I think once she has killed Joel and they try to give her development afterwards, I feel like she's already like, she cannot be redeemed by the player. She's unredeemable as a character, in my opinion, and I do not like her. And also, Abby has so she has no regrets to what happened to Joel, which doesn't make any sense because I feel like that would develop her character if she had regrets for what she did, but she just doesn't throughout the game. But they try to give her development. I'm not sure. Also, the game is too fucking long. It's 30 hours. I don't know why I have to play 15 hours as Ellie and then play those 15 hours again as Abby. I don't understand why. The game is way too long. I've never done this before, but when I played Last of Us 2, I was really hyped, and I've never done this with a new game. I was playing it, and when I switched to Abby, those last 15 hours of the game, I'm like, well, I'm like, I feel like shutting this off and not playing anymore. That's the first time I've ever felt that. I was like, holy fuck. But yeah, the ending is stupid as hell too. Ellie kills all those people and then regrets killing Abby for some reason. Out of all the people that she just killed, she regrets killing the one that killed her father figure. Like, what the fuck? I'm sorry, but this story is stupid. I could sit here and talk about this story all day if I wanted to, but I don't want to do that. I just want to give you why my big points on why I think it's stupid or it's a disappointing game. Um, but yeah, also the gameplay is pretty much just recycled from the first one. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It's pretty much just recycled with a prone button and a jump function, so you can jump now and you can go prone. That's pretty much it. It adds silencers too. That's literally it from the first game. That's the big gameplay fucking um advancement, I guess, for 8 years. It doesn't really add anything at all. But yeah, this is definitely my most disappointing game because I was looking forward to it the most, and it disappointed me the most this year. Um, just mainly the story, the gameplay wasn't anything special as well. But like I said, on a technical level, this game is actually really good. But I have to go off everything in the game, not just the technical stuff of it. But yeah, the story, even the story being disappointed, and the side characters not even being that good, um, which there's literally no good side characters in this game, pretty much. Like The Last of Us One had. The Last of Us One had amazing side characters. Everyone just gets fucking, no development, fucking nothing, and it's really stupid. But the thing that makes me the most mad is that Naughty Dog lied to us from the trailers from E3, where they lied to where they could tell us that Joel was alive, and then you play the game and he's not in the cutscene because he's dead because they tried to hide that. I think that that's just fucking ridiculous, and you're lying to your players, which is really stupid, and that disappointed me even more. So, um, I know that was like a out of the game type scenario, but still, it just kind of disappointed me because that's what I expected, and it's what I was marketed as. Same thing with Cyberpunk. I was marketed to believe one thing, but then it came out and it wasn't. So yeah. Overall, those are my opinions. My opinions. I want to say that again. If you have another opinion, let me know in the comments below. If you think Last of Us 2 is the greatest game you've ever played, let me know. If you think Cyberpunk's the greatest game you've ever played, let me know. If you think Avengers is the greatest game you ever played, let me know. Let me know if you think any of these games are good. If any of these games are worse than I've even said, because I know some people think that they're worse than I do. I do not think Last of Us 2 is a 0 out of 10. No. I think it's probably, if I had to give it a scale, because I know people like to say, oh, well, you just fucking hate it. You think it's a terrible game. No, I don't think it's a terrible game. I think it's really disappointing. So yeah. I'd probably give Last of Us probably like a 6 out of 10 if I had to. It's just really disappointing in my opinion. But yeah, here's my list. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video, which is my most anticipated games. So yeah, peace.